One thing it pays to never do is throw any of your stuff away if you're living off grid. There's remnants of my old well driller. I've got a video on that. We might get that going soon because my son's buying a piece of land and he's going to need a well. So I've got, what in tarnation? Boy, look how bad that's wallowed out. My God. Pull a bunch of these out of a job site. Those baseboard heater cores. These are semi-valuable. My idea was if I ever hook up a generator inside the house, or inside the garage, excuse me, I would take and run the exhaust through a couple of different ones of these to extract the heat off of the exhaust and be able to heat the garage or something while I'm charging my batteries, you know, kind of like a dual use. This baseboard heater I got off a job site. It was practically brand new. I don't know if it'll still work or not. It looks like it's starting to get a little rusty sitting out here. Just have no other place for it. But this one, my idea was to use the solar panels and that I got cheap. I must have 50 solar panels over there in that bus. And so I was going to hook a bunch of those together and make a 220 volt DC circuit, hook it up just directly to this and see what happens. Might not be a bad way to heat your place in the wintertime when the sun is shining. Of course, my 500 feet of poly, and that's something I'm going to be using, possibly putting a tank up on my hill up there, and so that'll be a gravity fed system eventually. Just about got my road finished. Of course, I've been working on my skid steer now for 3 years and finally got it running. Of course, I hadn't been working too hard on it, so, but did finally get it running and made a terrible mistake here. I actually ran this tire just a little bit low, doggone it, and spun the tire inside the rim. It's easy to do, apparently, as I found out. And sheared the valve stem right off the tube. Took this tire in. I must have been driving on it flat because they said when they put air in it, it kind of bulged out on the sides. I didn't see anything wrong with it, but you know how them tire stores are. So $250 for a new tire. If you guys have never had the opportunity to try one of these babies out, you're missing out. Everybody's got to at least try these once, because I guarantee you, you'll remember it. If you know what I'm talking about, any of y'all know what I'm talking about, put a comment down below if you've ever used one of these babies. But yeah, so I've got the roof mounts here for the, basically it's a scaffolding system. Heck, it's even got a picture right here. Traded these babies for a Subi along with a bunch of other stuff, but you can kind of see, you know, you put these 2x4, two 2x4s nailed together is your scaffold system. You slip this over the double 2x4, and basically you put a plank here, and to raise it you use the little kick to go up and down, and then it has this little hand crank right here to lower it. And I don't know, it sometimes works and sometimes doesn't, and every now and then you'll get that 5-foot drop and scare the living daylights out of yourself. My well pumps, this one here, I'm not sure which one this is, but one of them seemed, yeah, this is the good one. So this one was working pretty good. It just drew too much power from my pump, excuse me, from my inverter. I've got some of these metal posts. I bought these for a song and dance at Lowe's. That's what my house was being supported on while I was building it. I actually excavated underneath my house after I built it and put a basement in. And the way I did that was I would go a little ways. I would put a post, concrete in the ground, one of these posts, and then I'd go a little further and I'd put another post, and then I'd form up between the two posts, and then I would pour a section of concrete retaining wall. And then I just kept doing that all the way around the house until I was done. It worked out beautifully, and I've got a few of those left over. An old Graco airless sprayer. That thing gave up the ghost, but still good parts on it. And one of these days I'll get her going again. This here is a system of heating pipes. You can kind of see how this would work, but I had the check valve, kept it flowing in the right direction, every now and then it would want to flow in the wrong direction. But the check valves made it pretty foolproof. And I've got another one of these laying around that I did a much better job on. I was always going to put that back in service, but I think we took out the fireplace and we replaced it with propane. But now that I've got the new fireplace in, I'm going to think about doing that, going back to that. Yeah, so this was an old, this actually worked pretty good. This was one of those, I modified it a little bit. Normally the bucket's supposed to be left in there, and there's supposed to be a bottom on the bucket too. But what we did is this was on top of an outhouse. Actually, we started drilling a well and gave up at about 20 feet. And then we just stuck this over top of it to use it for an outhouse, and it worked pretty good. And it had a little toilet seat and everything. There was a guy that used to show how to make these things, and basically they're pretty slick. Used to have some little feet on it, and it, to make it the perfect height of a bucket. And the guy was using sawdust, and he would compost it and all that. And I didn't really want to deal with that too much, but this is the pulley off of my original hand-powered well rig. Still have it sitting out here. Here's something interesting. I wonder if we still have, if this thing's full of water or what. This is the packing. It came with a transmission for the old Toyota. Had an old Toyota Corolla or something like that. Anyways, this transmission, the differential blew up in that thing. So, gonna save it for the aluminum. You never know. One day. Here's a nice, beautiful fence post. Nice juniper tree we cut, so that'll make a nice corner post. And let me see what else we got here. We got a bunch of tires. There's part of my scaffold that I was using for the pump jacks at one point. And here we have the old mixer that mixed all the concrete for the walls. So once again, always nice to keep your eyes out. I got this nice little bandsaw. I believe it's made by Delta. No, it's Shopmaster. Made by Shopmaster. Anyways, yeah, what a great little looking machine. It came with a motor and everything, and cast aluminum body, real sturdy. And couldn't pass it up. 25 bucks. There's another one of my well pumps down up underneath there. Still works. Sitting out here in the weather, but I mean, could you hurt it worse out here or in the well? Anyways, lots of nuts and bolts, screws, things like that. Never hurts to have an assortment of electrical supplies. I almost don't throw anything away because you just never know what kind of little part you might need. Brainstorming, looking for something that works. This doesn't work anymore. It's broken somehow, but who knows? I might figure out a way to fix it, or might need a part off of it. But yeah, it never hurts to have an assortment of things. Most of these items I get for free. I just don't have room for them. Chainsaw I got for free. I know this looks like a mess, but I know where everything's at. And that's what happens when all you do is work and come home and you just throw everything away. Throw everything, an old CB. Kind of just throw everything down on the ground. Wherever it'll fit. And there's a chainsaw. It was the crappiest chainsaw buy I think I ever made. Not sure that one was worth it. Here's another free chainsaw. This is an old Poland. I know they're good. And a router table I got for free. These I made for a project in Poplar, Montana. We were helping out on the Indian reservation, building a church. I'm gonna put some sandpaper on there, spray adhesive. We were sanding down that the foam block, getting ready for EFS. Anyways, it never hurts to have an assortment of stuff. I got cans of everything you can imagine. Spray adhesive is always good to have. Lithium grease. Here's some of my decommissioned drywall tools. And yeah, just buckets and buckets and buckets of stuff like this. You know, it's never ending, and you just run out of places to put it. And you know, it never hurts to have plenty of plumbing gear. You know, I plumb my house with PEX, and I do wind up doing a fair amount of plumbing for people, but you know, and so I always have tons of stuff on hand. These are the best cutters for any kind of PVC out there. They just are. Once you learn how to use these, there's nothing better. But yeah, so got a few PVC fittings, but mostly this thing's just full of PEX fittings and everything needed to do that sort of stuff with. Electrical, you know, always have electrical wire. I've got some other bundles, you know, tile tools. I don't know what I'd use those for off grid, but you know, I use these for my work. But I mean, if work ever quit, you know, these are all things I'd probably go through and organize and find places for. You know, I just got various little gadgets and stuff. I always hang on to old electronics. This is an old power inverter that is God knows how old. And positive and negative, it's just a square wave. 200 watt square wave power source. You know, just spare electronics. Just all kinds of things. I think I've saved every single one of my cell phones from back in the day. Got this one. This might have been my wife's phone. I don't know. Flip phones were kind of cool, man. Back before the old smartphone thing. These things are so compact and so... Look how compact that thing is. I just can't hardly believe it. Hello? Yeah, so I'd like to order a yard of mud. I'm talking on my cell phone. Yeah, because I'm important. So, of course, you got all your reloading gadgets. You got bullet molds. I got a lot more than these, but these are just some of them. You can never have too many bullet molds and lead on hand. But, you know, got plenty of brass. Here's some old, here's something. Got some old 12 gauge brass here. This is kind of cool. I've always wanted to start using these babies. They take like a pistol primer or something like that. Pretty cool. I'll have to make some reloading tools for that one of these days. Yeah, but you name it, you know, always have spare stuff on hand. Got a lot of stuff. I've been taking all this stuff out of here and putting it inside. Got all my shotgun shells, used holes. Yep. Here's an old power generator. It's an old axial flux generator. I might get that going again one day. Lisa, she got a bathtub given to her. So she wanted, it's a spa tub actually. She's like, oh, okay, I want a spa tub. I'm like, yeah, sure, okay. Well, it's been sitting out here for a long time. And that countertop's got a nice nice faucet on it, believe it or not. And that's a pretty nice heavy duty sink. And then we had some shower doors. This one, this was one of them sliding door doggy door conversion kits. Well, we already have a doggy door, so what do we need that for? And this little boat is just the neatest doggone boat you ever saw. You know, it's just the coolest thing ever. It's got a really, you know, generous compartment in here. Nice place for a motor. I think they said, what is that? Something like 3 persons or 800 pounds. Maximum 5 horse motor. So 5 horse motor would push this thing along pretty good up the river. I was thinking one of them long shafts. You guys have seen them. You get a Predator motor and it's got this kit that you put on there. That's what I envisioned for this. And it's flat bottomed. Needs some repairs. You know, that's not a big deal. We'll take care of that right away. This thing's had quite a few repairs done to it, you know, just looking at it. And the trailer obviously doesn't go with it, but that's what it came with. So need to modify the trailer. You know, it's got bunks on there, which actually would be better off if it were just flat all the way up. And that would just allow that boat to sit on there. Of course, upside down would be best due to the water. But yeah, it's a really cool boat. I can't wait to try it out. You know, one of these days, one of these doggone days. You know, living off grid, you never know what you might need something for. This came out of the bank, or the former bank in Bozeman. This is a nice metal door. And I saw these sitting in there, and I asked them what they were going to do with them. I had a friend of mine, or a neighbor of mine. He was working on that project, and I says, I want one of those doors. And sure enough, he got me one. And look at those hinges, nice big heavy hinges. This baby is going to go great on my shop. You know, probably $1,000 for a door like that. Yeah, Big Sky Western Bank right there, Babcock Street. So yeah. And of course, this is my wife's little treasure trove of all kinds of cool stuff. Let's give that a walkthrough. You know, and I know for a fact, and we ain't ever going to get around to using most of this stuff. Got some of my roofing nails right back here. I actually have a brand new Predator motor. This is the old recoil that came off of one of my Predators that I bought. This would be the third one that I've purchased. And so it's all ready to go if the other one ever, you know, it's all about redundancy, right? Got some spare propane tanks going on there. She's got some planters. I think these are her tires off of her tracker. They might still have one season left in them. They're getting down there, but hey, you know, if it's still good, you got to hang on to it, you know. And there's way back up in there, you guys see some of the solar panels I got stored. So, you know, we got a little bit of everything. This is part of the electric fence that we had around the garden. The cows walked right through like it wasn't even there. Stupid cows. Of course, fireplaces are always handy to have. I think I got about 4 of those by now. We just never turned down a good fireplace. Here's, I know it's starting to look like an old junkyard, but you know, cars are getting harder and harder to come by. No sooner did I buy new tires for this thing that the transmission started going out. But you know, honestly, the transmission's like a one-day thing over at John John's. We just gotta, it still runs great. This thing's got over 300,000 miles on it. And it honestly still runs like a champ. Yeah. So, yeah, it's a little tore up. It's made for the ranch, you know what I'm saying? And, but it's been a good old truck. It really has. It's gotten us in and out of a lot of tight spots. But get the tranny rebuilt on this with 330,000 miles. I doubt we have a whole lot longer left on it, but you know, one of these days. A friend of mine parked his camper up here, and he's got it all stocked full of food for who knows what. When things, you know, might collapse. You never know. It's better to have it and not need it. Yeah, so if you keep your eyes out, you can find these darn fireplaces all over the place, you know, and they're in varying degrees of, varying conditions, degrees of, you know, whatever. This one's a pretty good one. It's got some pretty cool features. Solid steel. I mean, you can't hurt that thing with a bucket of crap and a mop. What's living off grid without one of these babies? The old clamshell diggers, you got your bar, and you got your T-post driver. That's 3 very valuable tools right there. Of course, I've got this old extension cord. Forget where I found that. I believe it was on a job site or something. But if you guys ever find something like that, never let that go. Things like that are very valuable. The copper in there, you can use it for all kinds of various purposes. And of course, here's another one of those finds I was telling you about. This is happens to be a pellet stove, and it's had some reasonable use, but for whatever reason, they said the auger was no longer functional in it. I don't know what would be wrong with the auger, but I'm sure it wouldn't take much to figure out. Simple troubleshooting. I don't know if I like the idea of pellet stoves, but what I do like about them is you can make your own pellets if you are so inclined. I think that's possibly why I got that. These would be good wheels for my airplane. Get some aluminum rims on those babies. I think the wheelbarrow tires are better. So it always pays to have plenty of stuff on hand. You know, you never know. You never know when you might need some stuff. So yeah, I brought this from Cali and had a bad bearing to start with. So sitting out in the rain hasn't helped it none, but easy enough to replace all that. But still works good. One of these days we'll hook it up when we get a shop. You know, bunch of iron. You never can have too much iron laying around. Well, hey, thanks for watching, guys. And listen, if this video wasn't too doggone boring, give me a thumbs up, man. Hit that subscribe button. I got all kinds of cool stuff on my channel. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.